Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is a day I think many people in northern Kentucky thought might never happen. For those of us who've run for public office in Kentucky over the years, every time you came to northern Kentucky, the issue was how we're going to get the bridge built. And as all the Kentucky politicians can tell you, the issue of possibly tolling the bridges was very, very toxic. And so today we sit in this wonderful clear day with sun shining down on literally a legislative miracle. How did it come together? Well, Senator Portman, from whom you had a chance to hear, was the active person on our side. Several Democratic senators on the other side came together and began to talk about how we might be able to work together to get an outcome. We all know these are really partisan times, but I always feel no matter who gets elected, once it's all over, we ought to look for things we can agree on and try to do those, even while we have big differences on other things. And this bridge, I think, symbolizes the coming together of both sides on something that both sides thought was important to try to get an outcome. You have a Democratic governor here, Governor Beshear, a Republican legislature led by Senate President Stivers, Kentucky House led by Speaker David Osborne, Chris McDaniel from Northern Kentucky, who took the lead on it down in Frankfort to provide the matching funds that we needed to make this project go forward. So it's not just this project, but the infrastructure bill, the bipartisan infrastructure bill that the president signed, provides dramatic additional assistance. Just looking at the Kentucky side of the river, this project plus other projects, over $8 billion over the next 5 years. This is really quite significant. And as we know, even though it benefits us in Ohio and Kentucky, nationally, this was one of the big projects in the entire country to deal with the crumbling infrastructure that we've all been talking about for years. And so we finally stepped up together and addressed it. It's also great to see the governor of Ohio here. We used to be colleagues in the Senate, Governor DeWine and his team. So if you look at the political alignment of everyone involved in this, it's the government working together to solve a major problem at a time when the country needs to see examples like this of coming together and getting an outcome. And so I'm pleased to be here today to be a part of this. I encouraged it, I supported it, and I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish working together for the people of Kentucky and Ohio and all these other commuters coming through here every day, going north and south across our great country. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. It's an exciting day. I'm proud to be a part of it. Thank you.
Please welcome Ironworker Local 44 member Sarah Gwen May.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah, and I stand here today a proud union ironworker. I've been a member of Local 44 right here in Cincinnati, Ohio for 30 years. 13 of those years I've dedicated my service to CHC fabrication. When I first became a union ironworker, I didn't know anything about ironworking. I didn't even know how to properly read a tape measure. But I heard they had good benefits. Their wages was allowing me to take care of my family. So I decided to take the chance to become an ironworker. As a single mother, it was very important for the benefits. The benefits was really nice benefits. My union has built this city from the ground up. And now, thanks to President Biden's, our leader, and the work of other leaders here today, We are rebuilding and replacing the Brent Spence Bridge. It's a boost for the workers. Thank you. It's a boost for the workers, and it's a boost for the region. That means quicker and faster commutes. Iron workers like me, and my brother and sister iron workers of Local 44, and other tradesmen get the opportunity to work on the bridge. This brings jobs, this brings money, which is very well needed right now, today, in Cincinnati and Kentucky. It is now my honor and my privilege to introduce to you the President of the United States, our President, Joe Biden.
Seat if you have one. Folks from inside the tent, I don't know you're all back there. I tell you, you got to be standing too, huh? All right, well look, Happy New Year, everyone. And Sarah, thanks for that introduction. I'm delighted to see the Mayor Covington, and Mayor of Covington, I should say. He is Covington, I think. Joe Mayor, and the Mayor of Cincinnati. And I make sure I got to do this right. Aftab Ferval, did I correct it? Because I want to get it right. He's a hell of a lot bigger than I am. Look, newly elected Representative Greg Landsman, he couldn't be here today. He's dealing with trying to figure out who's going to be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. And I wish him a lot of luck. He may be the first freshman ever elected Speaker of the House of Representatives. But it's great to be here with two individuals who are among those who worked the hardest and the longest to get this done. Sherrod Brown and Rob Portman, both men of significant integrity and people who do what they say. They've been fighting this for years to get the funding to repair the bridge. Sherrod 16 and Rob about 28. They never gave up. They got it done. And a big thanks also to Governor Andy Beshear and Mike DeWine, who worked hand in hand to help get this done. Folks, I'm especially happy to be here with my friend and colleague of many years, and I might add, longest serving leader in the United States Senate, Senator Mitch McConnell. Mitch, it's great to be with you. I asked permission if I could say something nice about him. I didn't want to. I said I campaigned for him or against him, whichever helped him most. But Mitch, it wasn't easy, and to get this done, and it wouldn't have gotten done no matter all the work so many others have done, and by writing the legislation and dropping it in, it wouldn't have happened without your hand. It just wouldn't have gotten done, and I want to thank you for that. And, we have to find common ground to get major legislation done in any circumstance ever, but particularly the circumstance we've been in the last 4 or 5 years have been less than cooperative. And Leader McConnell and I don't agree on everything. In fact, we disagree on a lot of things, but here's what matters. He's a man of his word. When he gives you his word, you can take it to the bank, you can count on it, and he's willing to find common ground to get things done for the country. So thank you, Mitch. Thank you. And that's exactly what we did in the bipartisan infrastructure law, which got done in no small part because of Mitch's leadership. Folks, look, I wanted to start off the new year at this historic project here in Ohio and Kentucky with a bipartisan group of officials because I believe it sends an important message to the entire country. We can work together. We can get things done. We can move the nation forward. We just drop a little bit of our egos and focus on what is needed in the country. For decades, people have talked about the Brent Spence Bridge. But folks, talking is over. the bipartisan infrastructure law. We're finally going to get it done. And the law, it's the most significant investment. This whole bill is the most significant investment in American roads, bridges, since the Eisenhower interstate highway system. Over $1 billion from the infrastructure law for this. It's going to upgrade the bridge, and the delegation has fought so hard to get done for so long. And here's why it's so important. This bridge connects Ohio and Kentucky, carries Interstate 71 and 75 across the Ohio River. It's on one of the nation's busiest freight routes. Truck traffic on I-75 alone carries $2 billion of freight. $2 billion of freight per day between Florida and Canada. $2 billion. The bridge was built in '63, as you all know, designed to carry 80,000 vehicles a day. Today, 160,000 vehicles cross this bridge. 30,000 of them, as you can see, about 10 have already passed, are trucks. Think about it. A bridge built over half a century ago, handling double the volume it was built for. It's the second most congested truck bottleneck in the entire United States. It doesn't take an engineer to tell anyone in this neck of the woods that the recipe for dangerous accidents, delayed shipments, and notorious gridlock, you're looking at it. Folks around here understand. You all saw what happened 2 years ago. 2 years ago when the bridge was closed for weeks because of the damage from a crash. Lost revenues to local businesses, congestion on alternative routes, nightmare commutes. One company called it what everyone else felt, total chaos. Folks, this is the United States of America, for God's sake. We know, and now we're proving we're much better than we've been of recent past. The funding from this infrastructure law is going to upgrade the current bridge and to build a second new bridge right next to it for interstate traffic. Look, that'll keep local traffic from competing with those massive trucks and freight. Look, it means folks around here will actually be able to use the bridge again to work, for school, for emergencies, without bumper-to-bumper traffic. And it'll be safer and easier commutes. First responders will get to folks who need help without delay. And our nation's commerce can flow more efficiently through this area because tractor trailers and other large vehicles will be able to move products to their destination without so much congestion. Look, it's not just here that the infrastructure law is being used, and we're just getting started. We're doing it all across America, from coast to coast. As I speak, the Vice President of the United States is in Chicago today. We're rebuilding 4 drawbridges in the South Side, so barge and ship traffic will continue to move in and out of Illinois' international port. We're going to move product faster and from ships to shelves. Secretary Pete Buttigieg is in Connecticut. We're renovating the Gold Star Memorial Bridge so traffic along the busy northeast corridor of the United States can move smoothly along I-95. Tomorrow, Mitch Landrieu, our infrastructure coordinator, is going to be in San Francisco. We're upgrading the iconic Golden Gate Bridge so it can withstand future earthquakes and be around for generations to come. It's not just bridges. Already, over 1 million households across Ohio and Kentucky are getting access to high-speed internet through the infrastructure law. Didn't exist before. Right across the river in Cincinnati, we're going to award $127 million to replace the old Western Hills Viaduct with a new structure to make freight movement by road and rail more reliable and efficient, a critical piece right at the beginning of this entire corridor, and I know a big priority for you, Mr. Mayor. And on the Tennessee River here in Kentucky, we're investing $465 million to finish building the Kentucky Lock and Dam to clear barge traffic. And we're going to lead to more economic growth in this area. In Louisville, transforming 9th Street from a 6-lane thoroughfare into an area of large pedestrian zone, bicycles, bus lanes, better public space. In Lancaster, Ohio, and Hopkinsville, Kentucky, the infrastructure law is helping companies that make batteries for electric vehicles build new manufacturing sites, create more jobs. So our electric vehicle future is going to be made in America, all of it. And we're doing all this with American workers and American products that are made in America. It's a simple concept. I can sum it up in 2 words: buy American. I don't sign anything that the Congress passes unless it's buying something American. With Sherrod Brown's help, we're making sure that the iron, steel, construction materials that they're building this bridge are made here in America, in the United States, made in Ohio, made in Kentucky, employing thousands of people all by itself. And that's the work we're going to do largely, and it's being largely done by unions, not labor, union. I can say the word, union. Laborers, electricians, carpenters, cement masons, iron workers, steel workers, communication workers, auto workers, and so much more. These are good jobs you can raise a family on, and most don't require a college degree. All this is about making an investment in America's heartland, and America's people, and America's future. It's about making things in America again. It's about good jobs. It's about the dignity of work. It's about respect. And folks, it's about damn time we're doing it. For too long, we've talked about asserting American leadership, about building the best economy in the world. But to have the best economy in the world, the reason I pushed this bill to begin with, you have to have the best infrastructure in the world. You can't have the best economy in the world without having the best infrastructure in the world to get products to market, creating thousands of good-paying jobs. For most of the last century, we led the world by a significant margin because we invested in our people, we invested in ourselves. But along the way, we stopped. We used to rank #1 in the world in research and development from the federal government's funding. Now we rank #9. China used to rank #8. Now China ranks #2. We risk losing our edge as a nation. And China and the rest of the world are catching up. Communities in places like Ohio and Kentucky saw factories leave, towns hollowed out, infrastructure start to crumble. Just between 1990 and 2020, Ohio lost more than 350,000 manufacturing jobs. 350,000 lost. Kentucky lost 20,000. Now we're back on track. Folks, where is it written? Where is it written that the United States cannot and will not lead the world in manufacturing once again? We're going to do it. Just since I got elected, we've created 750,000 new manufacturing jobs. Today, just a few hours from here, Intel is investing $20 billion, $20 billion near Columbus to expand what I refer to as the field of dreams, expanding semiconductor manufacturing. That's 7,000 construction jobs, 3,000 full-time jobs, paying an average of $135,000 a year, those full-time jobs, and you do not need a college degree. Micron is investing $100 billion in semiconductors factory in Syracuse. TSMC is investing $40 billion in Phoenix to do the same. $20 billion in Poughkeepsie, New York for IBM. Altogether, there's a commitment to close to $300 billion in major private investment in American manufacturing. And to bring semiconductor manufacturing back to the United States. And by the way, we invented the semiconductor, the United States. Then we got back on our heels. No, think about it. Think about why the recession got so bad 2 years ago. Cars got so expensive. We didn't have semiconductors. Scores of them are in the engines of every automobile. We invented them. And then we went to sleep. We exported jobs. Now we're exporting product and creating jobs. And it's happening in no small part because of another bipartisan effort, the CHIPS and Science Act, which Mitch and all these folks here with me today, they all supported it. It's about revitalizing American manufacturing. It's about America, once again, being the leading edge of technological innovation. It's about America's national security. Folks, it's about one more thing. It's about pride. Simple pride. Pride that I know all of us here today can feel. Pride in our country. Pride in what we can do and what we can do when we do it together. Folks, let me close with this. After years of politics being so divisive, there are bright spots across the country. The Brent Spence Bridge is one of them. A bridge that continues and connects different centuries, different states, different political parties. A bridge to the vision of America I know we all believe in, where we can work together to get things done. And thanks to those here today who are in the Congress, who are willing to cross the aisle to get something done. They know passing these two bipartisan laws just by themselves are more important than partisan politics. It's going to make a gigantic difference. Together we're proving our best days are ahead of us. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I've been doing this a long time, folks. Our best days are ahead of us. They're not behind us. I've long said, and I mean this, I have never, ever, ever been more optimistic about America's prospects than I am today. Never, never. I've traveled over 140 countries around the world. I'll paraphrase the phrase in my own neighborhood. The rest of the countries, the world's not a patch on our genes if we do what we want to do, we need to do. It's never been a good bet to bet against America. It's never been more true than today. I can honestly say here today, I've never been more optimistic about America's future. We just have to remember who in the hell we are. We are the United States of America, and there's nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. And I mean it. Think about it. Name me another country in the world that sets its sights and didn't complete it. So, folks, thank you all for your local officials. Thank you all for the Congress and senators that are here. May God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Keep the faith. Every time I'd walk out of my grandfather Finnegan house up in Scranton, he'd yell, "Joey, keep the faith." And my grandmother yelled, "No, Joey, spread it. Let's go spread the faith." Thank you.